All right, this is the first training tape for the 2023 regular season. Most of us got our scrimmages under our belt this past Saturday, and it's great to get back on the field. We know the players are excited. We're excited for the 2023 season, but let's go over our standards here for ejections, because we had a little bit too many this past weekend for my liking. And from what I've seen and talked to, I think if we did a little bit more preventive officiating and made our presence felt, these ejections probably would not have happened. So let's go through our standards here. Okay, so the devil's in the details here, ladies and gentlemen. When we write up an ejection, we have to be precise, specific language. Fighting, to me, is a boxing match. Okay, so don't just write fighting. If they threw a closed fist, wind up punch, write that. Okay, if that's an ejection. If the person has a clenched fist, rears back and punches someone in the head or chest or something, that's an ejection. If it's an open hand slap to the face, if it's a shove, if they're shoving each other or chicken fighting, that is not fighting by definition. Okay, that's a personal foul. Get them both. Okay. These things usually don't just happen. They simmer and they bubble and then they boil over. Okay, we have to have that sense of when that's going to happen, and especially umpires and referees. Okay, you're in the middle, you're the pulse of what's going on in there. Umpires, make your voice heard, talk to the players. Okay, with coaches, we did a great job last year keeping them and communicating them and keeping on the sidelines. If they want to say a few things, we can ask them to repeat themselves. Don't let them come out to the numbers to question your call or scream at you. Okay, that's a sideline warning at minimum. Tell them that you've given them a break by giving them a sideline warning only. They do it again, then you can nab them with the unsportsmanlike. If they come running down to the goal line to question a call, that's an automatic foul. Okay, we can't have that. We had it once last year. The official didn't flag it, and I'll take the responsibility for that, because I was really trying to get you all to work with the coaches. But in that situation, if they come running out of the box down to the goal line to question your call, that's an automatic flag. Okay, so games matter this week, so let's make sure that we're involved with the players. So we're going to go through about 20 plays here. This first play is we're going to look at what the actions on this receiver right here. So I'm going to run the play real quick, and we'll talk about it. Oh, I'm sorry, I circled the wrong person. It's the number 3 receiver. So let's go through our keys right here. So the number 3 receiver is the one we're going to watch on this play, but the number 3 receiver is on the line judge's side. So referee, when they read this formation, they should be doing the tackle on the line judge's side, because we know the line judge has these 2 keys as their initial responsibility. Head linesman's going to work the tackle on the other side of the field, okay, initially, and then depending on whether the back breaks out or not, take that back. So referees, you also, I've preached this numerous times, you have to read formations, okay? You can't just always default to the head linesman's side on this. So in this situation, you'd be getting the line judge. But let's take a look at the action by the number 3 receiver at the top and what he does. All right, so this is a great call here for offensive pass interference. All right, so there's a couple categories of OPI, offensive pass interference. There's blocking downfield, there's driving through, there's shoving off. So this one is let's start. So right here, the DB is in position, right? The DB is holding his charge. And if you do basketball here, it's like a block charge, right? So the DB is allowed to protect himself, and that's what he does right there. So once that DB protects itself and you see that initial contact, if there's a little bit of contact here and then the receiver either tries to swim upfield, goes off a shoulder, or cuts inside or outside, that's perfectly legal. You're going to have a little bit of contact here. But in this case, what you see is the tight end just shoves back, pushes off, and creates separation here. And this is a great call for offensive pass interference. So like I said, it's initially okay because the DB reaches out and touches the offensive player because they're defending themselves, but the offensive player cannot continue to drive into them. And then you see that little bit of arm extension right here that displaces that defensive back a couple yards because they banana out. in that situation, then leaves them wide open. Even though the pass is thrown incomplete, we still want this called for offensive pass interference because the DB was in good position here. So, if you're doing basketball, this would definitely be a charge in this situation. Now, what makes it a little bit different is if the defender slides into the offensive player, okay? So that makes it a little bit more difficult for us to do. But in this case, and we know this by rule, it's the offensive player's responsibility to avoid contact. So this is a really nice call here for offensive pass interference. All right, this next play is really interesting. So we have 2 fouls on this play, and we'll talk about, let's first talk about, again, our keys, right? So we're at trips to the head linesman side, right? So unlike the previous play where the referee will be on the line judge's side, the referee is going to be on the head linesman's tackle in this situation. And the line judge is going to work the tackle over here, and the deep wing, the field judge, is going to work that tight end right there. And so if we work, as we're a line judge, work this play, snap tackle right away and see what you think, right? So all of a sudden, what do you see? Oh boy, that tackle just fired out. So they get 2 yards, if I'm not mistaken. And listen, high school rule books are not my forte, so please feel free to correct me in the comments. I'm fine with that, but I'm pretty sure it's at 2 yards, which means we'd like to see them at a healthy 3 when the ball's released, just so that, But a lot of times when we get IDP or ineligible downfield, it's based on the timing of the route is incorrect, okay? So the elements of IDP are two things. We need a forward pass that crosses the line of scrimmage, and we need, at the release of that pass, a lineman to be no more than 2 yards down the field, okay? So let's take a look at this. So we're reading this. If we're the line judge reading tackle, we're snap tackle right here, we're seeing this tackle fired out. And we're snapping the ball from the 25-yard line. So we're going to give them to, like I said, a healthy 3 to throw. So if we see him at 3 and look back and that quarterback still has the ball, we know we got him. Or that quarterback had just released, we know we got him. Okay? So in this situation, let's go to 3. 1, 2, 3. They're at 3 right here. So here's your 2-step process. You see that lineman at 3. You see 1, 2 linemen at 3. Next, you look back and find the ball. I'll run in a few frames. You look back and find the ball. The ball is still in the hands of the quarterback. So we got an IDP hanging. Now the last element we need is the pass across the line of scrimmage. So if the pass was snapped at the big line, which it is here, all we need is the pass to be caught beyond the line of scrimmage. And let's take a look. And yes, it is. So we have those 2 elements that give us an ineligible downfield. So in this case, we do have a flag down for IDP, which is really good by this line judge. He works his progressions here, and you'll see the flag at the bottom of the screen come in late. All right, so that's the one element of this thing. So next, we talk about offensive pass interference. So we talked a little bit on the previous play, but I failed to mention, you need two things to happen with offensive pass interference. You need one of those categories to happen, plus you need the ball to cross the line of scrimmage. Well, we already know the ball crossed the line of scrimmage. So we know that head linesman has this person, side judge has that person. So side judge, you got work with one person. So look, what do you have here? So boom, we have blocking right here. Okay, so you know that you have an OPI hanging in this situation. And, depending on how you like to work these things, you may know where the line of scrimmage is with the big line, or you may need help, which is fine. So here we go. We have an OPI hanging. I look back. Oh, yep, he threw it. This is a case where if you're not sure whether the pass crossed the line of scrimmage or not, throw the flag. Throw the flag for offensive pass interference, because that's what this is in this case. We have blocking downfield. At the end of the play, you come in, and the person responsible for knowing whether the pass crossed the line of scrimmage here should be the line judge, which the line judge knew it crossed the line of scrimmage because they threw a flag for IDP. Okay, so you can piece that together 2 ways here. Or if you know that where the line of scrimmage is and you're good enough to count steps of the back or wherever they come out, you would know that's for offensive pass interference. So in this case, we should have had 2 fouls on the play, both by the offense. Ineligible downfield, which will be declined, and they're going to take the offensive pass interference and back them up, and then we're going to replay the down here because they got a first down. So it's a very interesting play to talk about with your crew and with penalty enforcement and how you're going to communicate whether the ball crossed the line of scrimmage or not in those situations. All right, this next play, we're going to look at a defensive holding that turns into DPI. And it's the number 2 receiver at the bottom. So that's the so we have a double formation. So it's the line judge's key at the bottom. So look what happens here. He's beat, right? So right now this person is beat. He reaches around and grabs him at the waist. So when and defensive holding has a 2-step process, just kind of like IDP does, right? So I see the hold, I look back, and the quarterback still had the ball in his hand. But now we look and see the continuing contact of the player, of the defender here, still riding him, which then turns into a pass interference here. Okay, so if he just held and let go, spun him right here, and you look back and boom, the quarterback still had the ball and he spun him right here, took a step away, the quarterback still had the ball, we'd have a defensive holding. But they continue to grab on and create a grab and restrict for a DPI here. So this is a defensive holding that actually turns into a pass interference. And what's really nice about this call is the person who threw this foul is the field judge at the bottom of the screen. The field judge knows that he or she's useless watching this matchup right here because there's nothing going on there. So they go and find work. The field judge goes and finds work, and that work is right in that middle of the field. He finds that, throws the foul, and it's a really nice call there for a DPI in that situation. So good job here. All right, so next formation we're going to look at. Okay, I'm beating formations up because there are basics. Okay, so we have trips at the bottom of the screen. So 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to beat a broken record here. Line judges has doom, boom. Head linesman's going to work that tackle right here. Field judge is going to work that tight end right there. Referee's going to work the tackle on the line judge's side. So referee, you got to get a little wider, okay, to work that tackle and to be able to also, because right now, how can you work that tackle right here and also judge on a possible roughing the passer on that quarterback? So get your width so that you can keep them both in your frame of vision. So we have another play where we have a pass interference here. So it's thrown to the back and it's pass interference. You can see it, early contact. Is the person playing the ball? But it doesn't matter if the contact is significant enough and they're not trying to go after the ball. It doesn't matter if they're playing the ball or not. So, I mean, is he playing the ball? Yeah, maybe he's looking back, but he pretty much just tackles a receiver to the ground. And this is another great call by the field judge in this situation. What I'd like you to take a look at right now is the action that happens on number 13, this receiver right here. Okay. And again, our line judge should be looking at this. We have an outside grab right here. Okay, so that we're not going to panic here because okay, the defender has an outside grab. The receiver ran into the defender. Okay, so I'm sitting here thinking, okay, defense is suspect, but so is the offense as he continues to drive and maybe push off or just drive right through them. So because right now I just have a stalemate. All right. So let's see what happens with number 13 here. 13's just happy to be there. Okay. There's nothing there on either side. He does what I mentioned in the previous play. He fights to the shoulder when there's contact instead of going right through him. He fights to that outside shoulder. So we don't have OPI. There's not really a restriction there either. So we don't have anything with DH. So I just wanted to give that example of a good no call in that situation for both of those fouls. All right, another DPI play. This one occurs, I believe, at the top of the screen. And it's a little grainy here, but what I wanted to show is the nice depth by the side judge in the top of the screen, but also as we stop the graininess right about here, they're both looking for the ball here. So we're even here, but what ends up happening is the receiver actually comes back and tries to make a play on the ball. And the defender just keeps driving through that receiver, creating that early contact, displacing that receiver when it happens. And this is a really good call here for defensive pass interference. All right, next play, another defensive pass interference here. So again, another play, and we sometimes get fooled. Well, they're both playing the ball, but yeah, he's both playing the ball looking back, but you still cannot push that receiver to the ground here like that player in the white does. So if he just keeps his hands off of the receiver and kind of runs and tries to make a play on the ball, we won't have pass interference, but you can see there's a clear shove in the back, pushes him to the ground, intercepts the ball, and watch the mechanics by the deep wing at the top of the screen. Throws his flag, continues to officiate the play. Nice, calm signal. Now that's when you come out with a nice preliminary pass interference signal, point to the defense, get on the 0-2-0. This next play is one. It's a difficult play. I'll be honest with you. Okay, we're going to watch the action by this receiver who goes inside. And this is our line judge's receiver at the bottom. Our field judge has this matchup who, unlike the previous play, there's a little bit of press coverage here. So that field judge is going to have to, stay on that matchup. So I'm going to give you a little bit, some tips on when you're looking for pass interference on plays that go over the middle as a short wing, whether you're a head linesman or line judge here. So there are two kinds of pass interference situations you will have in this play. You either have this player play right through the back of the defender with early contact, or you will have a hook on the arm and a turn. Okay, I use the term hook on the arm because not all the time that they hook on the waist is it a foul. Okay, a lot of time they'll put their hand on the waist, which then they'll reach over and deflect the ball, and when they end up turning the hip, when they only have the hip only, it's not until after the ball is passed. And we get fooled because it happens really quick. But in this situation, what you'll see here is you'll see a hook of the arm and a turn on 15 right there. And you can see, I'll run it back. Makes 15 a one-arm receiver. So what you want to do is you want to stare right at that back arm of that player, because that's where the foul is going to occur in this situation, whether they play through the back here or they hook that arm. So look what happens here. Boom. And you could see right here, it's that hook of that back arm right there. And, if you're good enough as a deep wing, as a field judge, to get off this matchup and snap to this too, your mechanics should allow you to see that back arm hook also in that situation. But there's a classic example of a hook and turn where they make him a one-arm receiver. All right, next play. I think this is the last DPI play. This is a play where I think the proper call would have been a no foul here, no call. So we have DPI here, and I can see why the official threw it. They think an early contact, not playing the ball, right? Head's not playing the ball. But let's contrast this play with the one earlier. The one earlier, the defender actually came back to the ball and tried to make a play on the ball. But in this situation, and I'll say this is excellent mechanics by this side judge. They are on the goal line, and they are staring right at the mesh point here that's going to happen. But what happens is you see how the receiver's fading backwards, okay? The defender's fading upwards, and this is a lot to digest. But as they're fading away, there's minimal contact here, and I think this is really good defense and really good timing by this defender to get up and break up this pass. Or no, they end up making the catch. And, again, the mechanics of this official is just excellent here. Not only, minus the call, flag throw, and then watches it and goes up for the touchdown. This is just phenomenal mechanics. Again, I'm picking, we'd have loved to see a no call in this situation, but overall, it was just a great job here. But I think this is a DPI we could have laid off. All right, next play is a blindside block. And we're going to show what is and what isn't a blindside block. So we're going to take a look at a punt, and it's going to happen at the bottom of the screen. I'll get you your culprit in a second. So you can see the culprit right there, right? It's this player right here coming back towards the ball, and he's seeking someone out. So boom, hits him with force from the side, and, that's a definite blindside block. And I think the reason we miss this is we're too quick at the bottom of the screen. So as this runner's running upfield right here, stop. Don't move. Just stay right here. Let this person go up the field. It's a zip code spot. If they step out of bounds, we can get it within a yard or two. And if we're still right there, we see this happening because right now all we're focused on is that runner and the tackle right here, which is tough. But if we're still and we're looking upfield, I think we see this blindside block here, and then we call it. All right, next one is a good no call for a blindside block here. So we're going to take a look at what happens with number 5, this player right here. So number 5 hits this player right in the chest, right? It's not from the blind side. It's hard. Maybe the defender isn't being able to see it, but doesn't go to the head, right? A shoulder right to the chest. And that is a good legal hit, and it's a good job by this crew for not calling a blindside block. It looks ugly, smells ugly, but it's a clean legal hit in this situation. All right, next one. I think in this case, I think we do call a blindside block, but I'm not sure. I'm not gonna. It doesn't matter or not, but we don't call a blindside block. So I want you to watch, and I think we should have here in this situation. So I want you to watch what happens with this player. So indicator going parallel or back towards their own goal line, and then boom, hits them from the side with force. Okay, and I think what fooled us here was the arm extension at the end. We sat there and we thought, oh, he led with his hands. Yes, he did lead with his hands, but the force of the blow comes from his shoulder and his body. Okay, so I think the extension from the hands comes afterwards. I think this would have been a good one for a blindside block to be called. What we want to do is see full extension of the hands the entire time and a push for us not to call a blindside block in that situation. All right, this next play, I just illustrate basic penalty enforcement because we all need that at this time. We're going to have a block in the back occur right at the 40-yard line, or or at the previous spot, however you want to So we have a block in the back at the 40-yard line, and I think it is on number 71. It comes out, shoves number 8 right past. It's not much of a shove, but it's enough to push him past the runner, and we have a flag at the 40-yard line. So let's go to the next play, and let's talk about penalty enforcement. So we have a flag at the 40. So how do we handle penalty enforcement? Okay, umpire should grab the ball and go to the 40-yard line. Okay. Line judge should be holding the spot of enforcement, and the head linesman should be coming up and coming to the 40-yard line. This is all predicated on you talking to the coach and they want the penalty. Okay, so once we do that, we give this line judge gives us preliminary signal, a legal block in the back on the defense number. I forget which number it was. So the referee's going to turn on the mic. So when the referee turns on the mic, the umpire and head linesman are going to march it off. Me and my umpire, we use 1, 2, and 3. 1 5-yard, 2 10, and 3 for 15. So we're going to march back 10 yards from the 40 to the 50-yard line. The line judge is going to hold that spot of enforcement until we go back, set the ball down. Then the line judge is going to be the last one who goes and marks off that 10. We're going to put the ball down. We're going to move the box. At that time, you tell the box person to stay still until you move and put the ball down, and you agree on the spot. Then after the referee gets out of his or her announcement, he's going to look at the field judge, and the field judge is going to say, hey, we're on the wind, okay? They're going to chop it in, wind it, and we're going to get to go from there. So that's just a refresher on penalty enforcement. Everyone should be engaged. The side judge should know that the play clock will go to 25, and we'll go from there. All right, next play, block below the waist. We don't see this much, so that's why I wanted to bring it up. Watch what happens to this linebacker. And, it's a tough play, but the only person who can get this is the umpire. So what ends up happening is the linebacker comes up and takes the fullback out at the knees. So if you're working center guard, center two guard gap, umpire, you might have a chance to get this, but I just wanted to illustrate this. It's a play we don't see, but we have to be aware of in those situations. All right, punt mechanics. All right, I think this play has 7 people because it's a state playoff game, but we work 6, but the mechanics of the situation still goes. So we have a punt, and we're watching our flyers, but we have zero awareness of where the ball is, okay? And where's the ball? The ball hits here, okay? First off, we should be behind the punt returner. We are. we should feel that punt returner going back for the ball. So we should be retreating just a little bit while watching our flyer, because watch what happens with this ball. And remember, we don't have a back judge in this situation. It's going back towards the goal line, so we got to be getting back there. Even in 7-man, we have to be hauling behind to get back here because we have to bracket it in with the back judge. So now the ball is caroming towards the goal line. So we have touching by R. What that means, K can now legally recover but not advance. But look what happens. The ball runs across or goes across the goal line, making this a touchback. But we are nowhere near the goal line to be able to judge what if K recovers it at the 1-yard line. Do we know if they recovered it at the 1-yard line or if it crossed? Because if it crosses, it's a touchback. If they recover at the 1-yard line, it's K's ball, first and goal at the 1. So again, let's be aware of these, where the ball is, and work good mechanics to get back to the goal line in these situations. All right, kickoff mechanics. Similar situation we have here. We cannot be in a hurry to get upfield. So let's go. We have a kickoff, a short one. So look what happens right away. We're running upfield. Be patient, because what happens? The ball rolls and rolls and rolls. Now we're heading backwards. We're retreating when we could have just been standing there the whole time watching what's going on. So now we have a possession. We have a wind. Great job. Okay, stay still. If we stayed still, we'd already be on the goal line right here, right? We have a wind. So we have a running play now with now a fumble. Now, can K advance? Yes, because it was a running play. K is allowed in advance, so they can pick it up and run it in for a touchdown, unlike the previous play where it was still a kick. So if we stayed on the goal line, we could have just officiated the entire play from the goal line. Let's not be in a super rush to get upfield in these situations, and just slow down. All right, goal line pylon play. First off, this person, get him out of there. Get him out of there. Move back. You should be back on the track, right where the track starts. Okay, short wings. In this situation, when your deep wing has a goal line, you're starting from the 10, 9, or 8. You don't need to move down that far. Okay, so now we have a great job. It stopped at the 1. You're here. There's no reason for you to be here. You see that the runner stopped at the 1. You can officiate here and officiate all this stuff that's happening here. Because right now you're just walking down looking at the spot. Well, so is this person looking at the spot. We need to help with dead ball officiating in this situation. And we don't need to be standing on top of each other to officiate this play. All right, this is the last play, and this is just, I'm going to tell you, this is phenomenal work by both the line judge and the deep wing, the field judge on this play. So I'm going to run it fast real quick. All right, so let's digest this play because they just nailed it, right? So we have a runner running towards the sideline. He's getting pulled out of bounds, and he gets hit. Before I say that, we should be back here. Don't get too close. Don't want you to get hurt, okay? He gets hit in the field of play, which makes him look like he got hit out of bounds. So yes, the line judge is clearing that. Made great judgment here, not calling a late hit out of bounds. But what does the field judge do? The field judge isn't officiating the runner. The field judge is officiating this action around the runner. Watch what the player does. Boom. So we have a play where let's look. We have a foul for a blindside block, or personal foul, hitting a player out of the play. Probably going to go dead ball with this, I would think, because the runner's out. It's simultaneous. Listen, it's a tough one whether you go live or dead. it's easy for me to double click and do this Xbox stuff and say, you know what, the hit happened when he was in the white. It should be technically dead ball. But guess what? If you called it live ball, it doesn't matter either way. It's phenomenal officiating because you're not watching the runner, you're watching the action around the runner. So this is just a wonderful job here by the deep wing and also the line of scrimmage official in this situation. And what I like is you're turned and looking towards the action here because we have problems here. You're running up to get in the middle of this, and the umpire is also engaged because you got a couple players going here too. So just a great job overall by the crew here. So I apologize for running a little long on this training tape, but I appreciate everyone who comments, subscribes to the YouTube page, and keep the questions coming. And for those of you working this weekend, best of luck to you, and we'll be talking again soon.